Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is currently 11:51 p.m. on this Wednesday evening going into Thursday. I'm wearing my glasses. I'm actually wearing them for like the very first time ever because, you know, I just take my contacts out, go to bed, put my contacts in, all that. So, but when I got done vlogging earlier today and then I was making videos, my headache came back. And it didn't feel like a migraine, but because it was in like the back of my head, but then my eyes really started hurting. So I was like, I'm gonna take my contacts out and put my glasses on. So I did, and it's really helped. But I don't know what the difference is between wearing glasses and wearing contacts, but I forgot how tired my eyes are wearing glasses. Like, my contacts don't make my eyes tired throughout the day. So, the other thing that's interesting is, so I just went to Meijer with Tanya, and then we got a fountain pop first. I got a Diet Pepsi, and then we went to Meijer, and I carried my glasses. I have them in my case. Because when we went into the gas station with my mask on, it was like fogging up my glasses. I could hardly see. So here are my new glasses that I got from Warby Parker. I don't know what I think of them. They're kind of tight on my head. I need to go probably get them sized at Warby Parker, but I like them. They're not bad. I think they're kind of cute. So I was a little worried. I was like, God, I hope the prescription is right and everything, but when I took my contacts out and I put them in, I can see perfectly. So they did a great job on the glasses. And they're comfortable. They just seem a little tight right here when I look at myself. They just feel a little tight right here. It's probably just because my head is so fat. But yeah, like when we went to the gas station, Tanya was like, did I not send you that? She had sent me this thing. I guess I didn't see it when she sent it. Well, I guess I did see it. I just had forgotten it. This thing that she sent me that was, am I almost out of this already, this lip gloss? She sent me this, like this meme, and it was this guy, and he had like foggy glasses, and he was like, if I see you in public and I don't say hi, it's, not that I'm being rude, it's just that I can't see you through my foggy glasses. Like with a mask on, you know? So when we went into the Meijer, where is my case? The case is like right here, because I put it back here. Well, it's back there somewhere. I took my case with my glasses in it inside the Meijer, and I just walked around with no glasses on. I could hardly see. I was like holding on to Tanya, and I was like holding onto the cart because I couldn't really see. I wasn't doing any shopping anyway. I got Alex 2 Valentine's Day cards, which Tanya was so nice. She got for me. She's like, you were so nice to come to Meijer with me tonight. And so it is her husband's birthday tomorrow. So she was getting stuff to make for his birthday, like his favorite. She's gonna make him homemade biscuits and gravy, which I call sausage biscuits and gravy, but he wanted that for breakfast, so she's gonna make him that for breakfast, and then she's gonna make him beef and noodles, because that's like his favorite meal that she makes. So she was getting like all the fixings to like make, all the fixings. That's what we say in Indiana. She was getting all the fixings. She was getting all the things to make that. And then we drove around and talked for a little bit afterwards. And yeah, that was about it. After I made my videos today, I just kind of rested for a little bit. I made myself, did some cameos, and I made myself this tomato basil soup that I had, and I made a cheese sandwich. I was gonna make a peanut butter sandwich, but then after I was like, I put the soup in the microwave, I was really thinking of, this is fantastic. I think it's Campbell's. It's just the kind that has the lid on it, and so you peel the thing back and put the lid back on, you know, that kind of soup. And it's like in a container like this. So good. I had roasted red pepper and Gouda too, but I had this instead. It just kind of was like a soup kind of day, you know? So I had soup and my cheese sandwich, and I was looking at stuff on Audible. I was talking to my cousin Caroline today, and because I always tell her like books to read, you know? And she had just finished Evelyn Hugo, the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And when she was reading it, she was like a third of the way through or something. And she was like, yeah, I don't know what I think about this. I don't know if I like it yet or not. And which is so funny because Caroline was not like a reader when she was growing up. And she loves to read now. She loves Audible. We both, you know, of course, love Audible. So she listens to Audible constantly. And so we're always like telling each other what books to read. Like she told me that Educated by Tara Westover because we both loved Where the Crawdads Sing. And the other one was one that they made the movie with Reese Witherspoon on, I still haven't watched it yet, on Hulu. I can't remember what that book is called. But anyway, about the house fire. It starts off with a house fire. You know what I'm talking about? I didn't love that book. I didn't think it was, like, so many people have talked about what a great book that was. I didn't think it was, like, the best book in the entire world. But anyway. So she's like, I'm listening to this book that you recommended to me. And she's like, oh my God, I love it so much. And I said, well, what are you reading? And she said, I'm reading, she had gone to Florida with a couple friends. And she was like, what's a book to read while I'm in Florida? And I said, the Girl Beneath the Sea by Andrew Mayne. I said, it's so good. I said, it takes place in Fort Lauderdale. And I think they went to Naples or Marco Island, but I think they went to Naples. And so she didn't read it when she was there. She didn't get it for then, but I can't remember what else she read. I think she read Big Little Lies while she was there, maybe, or some Liam O'Garrity book. Oh, no. She read the Evelyn... No, she didn't read the Evelyn Hugo book. I can't remember, but anyway. She said, so it's about this woman, and I've talked about it on here before, and she's a diver, and she grew up with her dad who, like, owned, like chartered boats and stuff like that in Fort Lauderdale. It's fiction. And so she dives, like, she contracts out to dive for, like, the Fort Lauderdale Police Department. And it's like a murder case. But it's really, really good. And I just loved it. And so I had looked, like, last week. And his second book is coming out, actually, on next Tuesday. It's called Black Coral, I think, or something like that. It's a second in the sequel. It's a sequel to this book in the series. Like, it's like an ongoing series now. And so I told her that. I said that his next book comes out next week. You should get it. And I said, you know, he has a series, too, called The Naturalist, which I had the first one downloaded. And I said, I haven't listened to it yet, but it's supposed to be fantastic. So we were talking about books and stuff. And but anyway. So, yeah, I laid down for a little bit. Not for very long, but I didn't even fall asleep just to rest my eyes because my eyes were, like, hurting. And, I mean, not because of my contacts, they just were like, I could feel that they just like were light sensitive and they hurt. Which is interesting because I don't have like ocular migraines. And so that was another thing. I was like, it just feels like a headache. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. It started going away and, but, you know, I usually always have my contacts in like all day long anyway. So it's not going to kill me to, you know, give my eyes a rest for a little bit. I may just wear my glasses tomorrow too. We'll see. Probably not though. It's so funny to me that I used to wear glasses every day. I had these like tortoiseshell ones I wore when I was like late high school. I didn't wear them every day though. I wore contacts in high school. Once I got contacts, I think I was like 16 or something. I've told that story on here before. But then I got little round, they were kind of like, they're these Oliver People glasses. I still have them. Isn't that crazy? I'm like kind of afraid to throw glasses away because I'm like, if I ever need to see again, even though it's a totally wrong prescription. So like, how would I did my hair earlier and look, it still looks like crap. But anyway, I'm like, at least I'll have some, you know, glasses if I need them later and I can't find any other glasses. But I have like, you know, probably 10 pairs around the house somewhere. I don't know where. Do you ever do that? You don't throw away glasses because you think like, oh, I might need them down the road. I need to just throw those Oliver People ones away. I literally have not worn those since probably my first 5 years of working in treatment. So what would that have been? I started there in 95, so 2000. So in 2000, I stopped wearing them. So I haven't worn these glasses in 20 years and I still keep them. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? So did that. And then, what else did I do today? Not a lot. Filmed a drama video. Put up my Peterisms video because I filmed it yesterday and I never put it up. I meant to do a review video today and I just didn't get to it. I did a booktube video. I did my vlog earlier, and after I vlogged, I did a booktube video. Just fun. And I listened to a little bit of the project, not tons. When I get done vlogging tonight, I'm going to listen to the project. I'm really excited about it. I keep on saying I'm not going to vlog for very long, and then I keep on vlogging for like 50 minutes to like an hour and a half. Tanya was asking me about that tonight. She's like, are you still doing like hour and 40-minute vlogs? And I said, oh no, I haven't done that for a while. I said, I might get back to that again. I said, but I said I've been vlogging between like 50 minutes and like, you know, an hour and 10 minutes. I looked, and like the last 2 days I did over 50 minutes, and then like 3 days ago, it was like an hour and 19 minutes, I think it said. Every time I go through my Starbucks, there's a new Starbucks opening right here, and it's so pretty. It's like wood on top and stuff. How far are they until they're done with it? Oh, it looks like they're still probably a month out from it being done. But whenever I go through my Starbucks that I typically go through, not my Starbucks, but the one that I go through all the time, you know, where Josh works, the barista Josh, he was there today, and he was there yesterday. But they're always training people for that store, because there's like a lot of new people, and I'm like, oh, how are you? You're new? And they're like, yeah, I'm just training until I go to the new store at A6 and Ditch. And I'm like, oh, that store's so pretty. So I'll have to go in there and drive through there and do some reviews. They're really nice, everybody that I've met. So what else did I do today? Talked to Caroline, talked to my sponsor, Forever. I'm doing a pretty big inventory with her. We were gonna do it this Saturday, but we're gonna do it next weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, unless I have something come up or she does, and then we'll figure out a day to do it. And we can pretty much do it any day. Maybe next Friday I might do it, but yeah. So we're gonna do. I've been like inventorying like all kinds of stuff. So she was like, I think it's time for some inventory again. I'm like, I think you think it's always time for inventory. She started laughing because my sponsor is so big on inventory. And really what you just, you know, what you do is you just take a look at your life, and like, it's basically like, you know, we're told that any business that doesn't do a stock inventory is not successful. So in your own life, it's basically like looking at yourself and seeing like, you know, what things are working for you, what things are not. And so it's, you know, making a list of resentments, and which I don't have really a lot. Making a list of fears, like your sexual conduct, things like that. That's like a basic four-step inventory. She's having me do some different stuff this time. You know, as far as like insecurities, self-worth, and things like that. And so I'm just putting this inventory together, and it's back there. I've been working on it, and I used to not love inventory, but now that I have seen how great my life has improved as a result of it, it's just like, I look at things in my life in a completely different way now. You know, I look at my life as like, because when you do inventory, I talked about this on here just not too long ago, but you look at like if you're going to do a resentment, right? Like, let's say if I had a resentment against, I don't know, Judy Smith, making this up because I don't know a Judy Smith. So anyway, I would list Judy Smith's name, and then I would say what I was resentful at her for, and, you know, and what that resentment was about, and then, you know, like how it had affected me, what areas of my life it affected, you know, my ego, my pride, maybe my financial situation, you know, there can be, you know, tons of different ways that it affected you. And then you look at what your part is in that. And many times it's important to look at what your part is in that, because then later when you make your 8-step list of people that you need to make amends to, a lot of the people that are on your resentment list, you'll find out are people that you actually owe an amends to for your part in what happened. Not always. I mean, there's obviously people that we do not owe amends to, but often we'll find, you know, that relationships that we have with other people are two-sided. It's not just, you know, whatever. And then in the 9th step, we go in and we make amends to such people, unless to do so would injure them or others. So you don't make amends when it's going to cause more harm. So you don't, you know, and there's a lot of different situations for that. But you know, it's an interesting process, and basically it's clearing the wreckage of your past. And then the other thing that's interesting about inventory that I really, really love, is that you start getting to see patterns for how you interact with people, or, you know, I mean, I've done a lot of inventory in the last, well, I mean, I've done a lot of inventory in my life, period, but in the last 2 years, I've done quite a bit of inventory. And, you know, I would say the first big inventory, I looked at really who I was, like in my past, and who I am now, and I also looked at who I want to be going forward, you know, and that was like a part of like what came out in the patterns of like just a lot of things, you know, that I wanted to take a look at, like my need to be right in a lot of situations in the past, I think, was a huge part of that, which I think is a sign of emotional immaturity. Not just needing to be right in a certain situation about something that happens to us, but needing to be right always, like fighting people constantly in your life about you're wrong and I'm right, or always wanting to tell on somebody. If you knew what this person did to me, if you knew what that person did to me, and I don't have that need today, I'm just like, you know what? Not everybody's gonna like me, and that's okay. And I think that I really learned a lot about how I talk to people in the past. And that a lot of how I talk to people came out of a need to be right. And that I wanted to be heard. And, you know, one way of being heard is raising your voice. And that's not right. And not, I mean, there's certain situations where I think that's fine, you know, and justified, but not if you're doing it all the time. And that's your reaction to people, or your response to people is always doing that. And I wasn't happy, and I wasn't happy with my interactions with people, and I couldn't just, like, I had to like ride something out all the way through, if that makes sense. And that had been a pattern, you know, in my life for a long time, right? Like years upon years upon years. And when I started looking at this stuff in my life, and I realized, wow, like, this is a pattern, you know, and the reality is not with Susie Smith or Judy Smith or Susie Jones or whoever, making up names, you know, but with a lot of people, you know, it's hard when you start looking at stuff and you have somebody that you love and care about, like my sponsor, you know, or all the sponsors I've worked with doing inventory, but my sponsor now is like, she's really good at inventory. Like, she really, like, she is not a back patter. Like, she's just not like, she don't let me get away with anything. So if we're looking at something, she really wants me to look at what is your part in this, because it's really not about the other people. It's really about me at the end of the day. And when I started looking at a lot of this stuff and I started seeing this, what I realized was that I had learned, I mean, this was all learned in how I interacted with people and how I reacted to people, you know, and I wasn't happy, and those weren't the relationships I wanted to have with people, you know. I wanted to have peaceful, serene relationships with people. I wanted to have happy relationships with people. I wanted people to feel joyful that I was in their life, you know, and that ultimately it's about me. You know, I think we have such a need as human beings to tell on somebody and say, like, if you knew this person, if you knew what they had done to me, and if you knew what they said about you or whatever, and what I realized was that none of that is necessary, you know? Actually, Tanya and I were talking about this tonight because we were talking about, like, valuable lessons we've learned in the last 2 years, and I have to say, this keeps on coming up a lot in cameos that I've been doing when people are asking for pep talks. And probably, where am I at on time? One of the most, if not, I wouldn't say, you know, I think it was interesting. Well, first of all, I'll say this. It's interesting because as far as some important lessons I've learned in the last couple years, I think it's interesting that I had gotten the Maya Angelou quote wrong. So the Maya Angelou quote that I used to say was, when you're going through really difficult times or hard times, or you're going through a big tragedy in your life, look up and say thank you because you're about to learn a valuable lesson in your life, which I still think that that's true, right? But I was wrong. That was not the quote, actually. And what was funny was I had looked it up. I had talked about it on a Peterism's video, so, like, I was, like, really wanting to hear it again, what she had said, because I watch a lot of TED Talks and Oprah AHA. I love TED Talks, and I watch a lot of Oprah AHA moments, and, you know, those are really quick, easy ways to learn about yourself, you know, is, and to educate yourself. Like, if, just put up TED Talks into YouTube if you have like 10 minutes. I mean, they're not all of them like 40 minutes, or some of them very short. And put up TED Talks and just like look in and like see which one catches your eye, you know? And then just listen to one while you're like getting ready in the morning or whatever. They're so inspiring, and they always make me look at things in a way that was like, you know what, I never saw things that way. Like, I never saw it from that perspective. And I also think they're a really easy way for us to just like educate ourselves and to further grow as human beings. I mean, and they're free access right there, you know, these amazing people's experience, you know, or these people's amazing experiences sharing with us their life stories, you know, and what they learned from it. And it's just so powerful. I mean, it's like getting every expert in a room and having them share with you for free. It's like, it's just like this unbelievable knowledge. It's just out there. I love the TED Talks. So anyway, you know, so Tanya and I were talking about like lessons that we learned, and I was talking to her about the Maya Angelou quote. Well, I was talking to her about something else in a second, the most valuable lesson I think I've learned in the last few years. But she said, but when I went back to go watch that Oprah clip and I found it, actually what Oprah said was that Maya Angelou taught her was not that when you look up when you're in the middle of a tragedy, you look up and say thank you because you're about to learn a valuable lesson. It's actually when you're going through really difficult times or tough times, or you're in the middle of a tragedy, look up and say thank you because this too shall pass. Well, that is something that I have lived by for 26 years of sobriety, that, you know, that spiritual idea of this too shall pass. And you know, you don't have to be a spiritual person. I've been saying this in cameos as well, is that time heals all wounds to some degree. Like, you don't have to be a spiritual person to realize that a year from now, if I keep on putting one foot in front of the other and I try to do the best that I can as a human being, that the way that I feel today and the condition that I am in today, or, you know, like how I feel about the world may change. I may feel better. You know, when I look at like a lot of like really difficult times in my life that I've gone through, like my mom, like when my mom passed and things, like I thought that pain would never end, right? But looking back on it, what I realized was it did. You know, this too shall pass. And when I look back on that, I also realized that at that time, you know, I can remember going through a breakup with my ex. Like, we got together, we were together June, July, August, September. We broke up around the 1st of October, and then we were apart for like a month or two. A month, I think, and then we got back together. And that month, I remember, was so horrible because I wanted to be with him so bad, and he just wouldn't take my calls or anything. I can remember one night, he had gone out to this club here in Indianapolis. This was when he was still living in Seymour, Indiana. You want to talk about codependency and obsessive love. I probably never talked about this on here because it's not my finest moment. I had gone and I had bought all of these flowers and put them on his car. I am not this person today, I'll just tell you. Like, I've worked through a lot of this. I love having my husband in my life, and he is my most cherished person. But I also realize that I cannot be in a relationship where I feel like if I don't have that other person, I can't live. Like, that's not a healthy relationship. Alex is in my life because I choose for him to be there, and I'm in his life because he chooses for me to be there. And, you know, we've worked on having such a healthy relationship in that matter that, you know, we just feel so blessed that we have each other in each other's lives. But that kind of being in a relationship where you feel like I'll die without that other person, that is not healthy for me. It just isn't, you know? And I think it's a very romantic kind of idea when we think like, I don't know what I would ever do without my partner. I think that is normal. I don't know what I would do if my husband was gone tomorrow. Like, I really don't. Like, that scares the hell out of me. You know, I'm putting together a fear list, and that's on my fears list for my inventory, you know, losing my husband at some time, you know, like whether we would break up or something would happen to him or whatever that condition would be, you know, like God forbid, you know, but like my dad is on the fears list for the same thing, losing my dad and my stepmom, you know, I just, you know, but I'm not at a point where I think that I couldn't go on. I know that I would be able to go on today. It might take me some time to get there, you know, so I think that is a romantic idea that we have where it's like, well, you know, I couldn't continue to live. Well, sure you could. And look at your partner and ask your partner, you know, like, you know, if something happened to you tomorrow and you passed away, what would you want from me? Just to, you know, live in misery and pain for the rest of my life? Or would you want me to continue my life as well? And I think most people's partners would look, I would want Alex to meet somebody, maybe not the next week, you know what I mean? Like, I might like him to take a little bit of time to grieve my loss, but no, I would want my husband to spend his life with somebody else. I would want my husband, I think that's selfless love. I would want my husband to be with somebody else and enjoy, you know, somebody else. Hell, sell our condo and go, you know, take the money and go have fun buying a new place with it or something, you know, enjoy your life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's where I know, like with my mom, like, she would so want me to enjoy my life and have a great life. And I think most people would, you know, I can't imagine anybody looking at their partner or their kids or whatever and say, no, when I'm gone, I want you just to live in total misery for the rest of your life and sadness. And that is so freeing to me with grief, because I can't imagine anybody looking at us while they're alive and saying that that's what they would want from us. Some of these people still have their Christmas stuff up. You guys, look at this patio. I never showed this one. It's so cute. Look at that. Oh, and I have to show you this. My favorite Christmas house. Look, you guys, they have Valentine's stuff. They have Valentine's hearts and everything all over their house. They must decorate for every holiday. That was the one that had the sweaters, you know. I love that. But, so, what was I going to say? You know, you learn over time that the pain that you're in right now will be minimized at some point. You're not going to continue to feel the pain that you feel like you're going through right now for the rest of your life. This too shall pass. You will feel better. There will be brighter days ahead. And when you have them, you will look back on your life and you'll say, wow, at that time, I could not have been convinced or believed. I could not have been convinced of, or would I have believed that at some point my life would feel better, that I would feel better, that things would feel better, that I might actually have a happy day. Because when you're in the middle of it, you can't feel that, right? Like, at all. This stupid bag I need to buy a new one of these, I think. But anyway, so I was talking to Tanya about that, but really what I was telling Tanya was, like, I think the greatest lesson that I've learned in the last couple years is that, you know, I came into inventory 2.5, 3 years ago with this, I need to work on myself. What is going on with this thing? It drives me crazy because it keeps on sinking down. I came into inventory a couple years ago with, I need to look at myself and I need to look at all these things about myself, who I was, who I am, who I want to be going forward. But you need to understand what this person did to me. You need to understand what that person did to me. Let me tell you. And my sponsor wouldn't allow it. She was like, we're not going to sit here and do inventory on somebody else. This is your inventory. I understand that, but. And she would look at me and she'd say, you know, we all have a need to tell on somebody. And I'm like, Because it plays, see, you aren't going to understand the whole story unless you understand that. And she said, well, we can talk about that in your resentment towards that person, but it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. And what I realized, and I think this is my most valuable lesson that I've ever learned, is that, and I talk about it more and more on my Peterisms channel, because I really I've really gotten it in the last couple of years. I just looked at it because I thought the battery was going to stop, and I was like, it's my battery, and then it stopped. But I've really, really gotten this, and it's like, do you ever like, this is another Oprah-ism, but when she talks about how like lessons come to us, like, well, lessons are, I believe that in life there will be presented lessons. That's from Dr. Sheree Scott's book. And then she says, and lessons are repeated until they are learned. But Oprah said, and I can't remember what it is, it was with that girl from The Growing Pains when she was talking about substance abuse or something. And Oprah talked about how lessons come to us as like, the first is a whisper, and then as a feather, and then as like, you know, a gentle nudge, and then as like a brick wall, and then a mountain, and then like your whole house falling down. It's like it comes to you louder and louder and louder, the lesson over time, which is so true, you know? And this lesson for me is really like, it has become more and more profound over time. And if I could say to you, there are a lot of lessons in this world that have helped me, but this lesson I think is like, if I could give you a lesson that you would just take into your heart and say, okay, this is true, and I hear what Peter's saying, and I'm just going to take this and run with it. This lesson has been so freeing to me and has given me so much peace and serenity, I can't even begin to tell you, is that, number one, we all have a need to tell on somebody, but at the end of the day, it just really doesn't matter, okay? If you need to vent to somebody about how somebody has done you wrong, I think that's fine. But when you become this person that is consumed with wanting to tell other people how somebody did you wrong or this or that, you are stuck in the problem, not the solution. And the only person that is really ultimately being affected by that is you. And I see people all the time that are stuck in the problem, not the solution. And it makes me very, very sad. And what I also realized is, if I'm pointing my finger at other people, I've talked about this on here, but if I'm pointing my finger at somebody else and I'm saying, and let me tell you about this person, and go look at this person, and let me tell you this person, and I'm consumed with what that person is doing, and I'm consumed with this person is doing, and I'm telling you how all these people wronged me, and I'm constantly ate up with it on a daily basis, right? It's not just that when you're pointing at somebody, there's three fingers pointing back at you, because you have a part in that as well, which is true, you do. But all that time that you're spending on all of those other people is time that you're taking away from yourself, okay? I'm not willing to give my time away to other people anymore. If I'm gonna do work on somebody, it sure as hell ain't gonna be Susie Smith or Susie Jones or Susie Smith, you know what I'm saying? I'm not spending my time fixing other people that I could care less about them, to be really honest with you anyway, other than how they've affected my life. I'm not gonna try to fix somebody else. It's just, what's the point? The other thing that I've realized, and this has been the most powerful part of this lesson, is this. This is the lesson, okay? And I say this in my videos because I'm so thankful to you guys for giving me your time. But I think that's where it started for me, and also in doing inventory. But like, I started seeing it when I would thank you guys, like, and then it was the whisper, and then it was the feather, and then I finally got it one day. It's like, I would thank you guys for giving me your time, right? That I'm vlogging for 50 minutes or an hour, and some of you watch 20 minutes, and some of you watch an hour, but there are some of you out there that literally watch every video of mine that I post every single day, and have since the beginning, right? Well, whether you watch 5 minutes of my videos or whether you watch 2 hours of my videos on a daily basis, you are giving me time in your life. You are allowing me the privilege and the honor of being part of your life, okay? And that is a huge, huge deal when we realize that there are, 60 seconds in a minute, and 60 minutes in an hour, and 24 hours in a day, and 365 days in a year, and most of us live to be, between 60 and 80 these days? 70 and 80 hopefully. We are literally giving people in our lives precious, precious time. We are giving people part of our lives. Part of our lives. That's why I very rarely today play into nonsense. Have your opinion of me if you don't like me. Have your, whatever. but I am not playing into it. I'm not going to give you my time. I'm just not. And it's okay, you know, that you don't like me. I get it. I understand it. If you feel like you need to have a conversation with me because you need to hear me take responsibility for it, and I have not reached out to you, feel free to reach out to me. I don't want anybody feeling like, and if I don't feel like I have a part in this, like, I'm not just saying this to YouTube, because this has very little to do with YouTube, honestly, and mostly to do with my personal life. I'd say 95% of it to do with my personal life. But, you know, if there are people in my life that feel like I owe them an amends, or I feel like I need to take responsibility or whatever, if I can't see it, if I honestly can't see it, okay, and the person that I am is, I will literally get on the phone and call my sponsor and say, I need to talk to you about this. Like, this has been brought to my attention. I need to take a look at it. I need to inventory this and see what my part is in it, you know? I don't want anybody living with anger, animosity, or hardship in their hearts, or, you know, just consumption of negative energy at my expense. Like, do not let me rent space in your head for free, because I don't let people rent space in my head for free. I just don't want to be the cause of that for somebody else, you know? Seriously. Because what I realized was that, and then I took a look back and I realized that, you know, even with like my mother and my father, you know, people that chose to have me, okay? Because there are a lot of, you know, crappy parents out there. Let's just be for real. There are a lot of crappy parents that ignore their children and don't give them the love. And, you know, and even my mother is an active alcoholic. She did the best she can. I'm not making excuses, but she gave me a lot more than a lot of crappy parents out there, you know, and a lot of time, a lot of memories, and I'm grateful for that. I'm incredibly, incredibly grateful for that. It was a privilege and an honor to be part of her life, and I'm thankful for that. And it was a privilege and an honor to be part of her passing as well. And what I have realized was, we need to be very careful who we're giving our time and our energy to. That's why I talk about the importance of setting boundaries and limits and removing toxic people from our lives. I do not, at 48 years old, have to put anybody in my life that I don't want to. I don't have to entertain anybody that I don't want to. I don't have to deal with anybody that I don't want to today if they're going to bring me negativity and sadness in my life. I don't have to, you know? And I'm sorry, but it's my life, and I'm only here for one, you know, one rotation. I'm only here for one. It's not a dress rehearsal, you know? And I think many of us act like it's a dress rehearsal. And in the last 2 years, since I have understood that, it has changed my life profoundly. Profoundly. Because, I don't know why I'm getting emotional over this. Because it has made me hold on to my marriage and be protective and proud of my marriage in a way that I never was before, because I realize that I have something that not everybody has. It has made me cherish my friendship with my best friend. It has made me look at my friendships with people like Melissa and Valerie and other people with such honor, because these are people that allow me to be part of their lives. It's made me have a absolutely newfound respect for people that choose to watch my videos on YouTube, because you don't have to. And, you know, anybody that buys a shirt or buys a cameo or leaves a comment or whatever, I mean, you took the time. Thank you, you know? And there's just such a graciousness that comes with that. And I don't take that lightly at all anymore. I just don't take it lightly at all. And I don't spend a whole lot of time in my life anymore doing things I don't want to do, quite frankly. And I don't have a problem saying no to something I don't want to do. Now, there are things that I think we should do, and I think there are times to suit up and show up, and that's something completely different, you know? Suiting up and showing up to things that we maybe don't want to do, but are the things that we should do in our lives for other people, because those selfless acts are important. That's a completely different thing. I'm talking about, you know, if I'm reading a book and I don't want to finish it and I'm 100 pages in, I don't finish it. I'm not giving that time to that book that I don't want to finish. You know what I mean? If I'm watching a TV show or a movie, and I'm talking about petty things like that, you know what I mean? I don't give my time to it anymore. My time is valuable. I don't know how much time I have left. None of us do. you know? But I am greatly, greatly humbled by the stories that I hear on a daily basis from people that have lost loved ones. I didn't share this at the time, but a woman that won one of my giveaways on my review channel, I saw a message from her because I had messaged her when she won. And so I sent her the gift card and stuff on my review channel. And she didn't really tell me anything about herself, you know? And her daughter reached out to me. I saw the message come up and I was like, well, this is weird. I wonder what she's messaging me about. I mean, I get a lot of messages on Instagram. I can't keep up with it, right? But I remembered her because of her name. And her daughter messaged me and she said, I just wanted to let you know that my mom passed of cancer. This was a while ago, a couple weeks ago. And she said she loved watching your video. It wasn't anything deep. It was just, you know, she loved watching your videos. And she goes, I just wanted you to know that. And I thought, wow. I had the privilege of being part of this woman's life on some level. You know, on some level. What an honor. What an unbelievable honor. And so, I don't play into the fighting on social media, and I don't want to be that anymore. It's not important to me. I know there's a lot of people that watch this channel that don't like me for whatever reasons they want to hold to, and they want to believe that I'm this horrible person, and I'm never going to say that I'm the greatest person in the world or that I'm the most perfect person in the world, because I don't claim to be that. And trust me, I've had a lot of stuff I've had to work on in my life, you know. But I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying real hard, you know. Because I don't take this shit lightly. I don't take my life lightly. And I'm trying to be the best version of myself I can be. I really am. My battery died. I was putting on lip gloss and everything, and my battery died while I was doing it. And I thought that it was in my other, like my battery. I'm over here like trying to get around my wallet, and I'm like, cause that's where I keep my battery. I'm like, I know the battery's in there, and I forgot that I brought my vlogging bag with me. So it was in the front pocket of my vlogging bag. I was like, oh, there it is. Ooh, it's hot. I was showing Alex tonight that, because I'm trying to use these bags, and so I brought this vlogging bag with me. I call it my vlogging bag. And I was like, Alex, this is my vlogging bag. He goes, oh, okay. He could care less. Anyway. So yeah, I think that is my most valuable lesson that I've learned in the last 2 to 3 years. And probably one of the most powerful lessons I've ever, if not my most powerful lesson I've learned in my entire life, is that, you know, our lives are years whittled down to months, whittled down to weeks and days, hours, seconds, milliseconds. Who and what we give that time to is really, when we look back on our life, what our life existed of. So, I think it's important to ask ourselves, you know, what am I putting time and energy into that? I just said this the other day. I had a friend of mine that said this to me one time, and I think it made so much sense when she said it to me. It's like, if you look at a friendship or a relationship in your life, or just somebody or something that you're giving time and energy to, right? It can be anything. I think sometimes, like, I can sit at, you know, on social media, and I can just like waste forever. I was on there the other night. What was I on? was like Facebook, and I was looking at somebody's post, and then I looked at somebody that commented on the post, and before you knew it, it was like a half an hour gone by, and I literally felt like I just wasted a half an hour of my life, you know? And I know that there's people out there that enjoy it. God, my friend Tanya, she loves Facebook, you know? And I'm not just talking about Facebook, it can be Twitter, Instagram, whatever. God, Instagram's probably the worst for me. I can fall down the rabbit hole of Instagram like that. And, but not just social media, it can be anything, you know? And, I was talking to a friend one time about a friendship, and she equated it to putting money into a stock every month and never getting anything out of the stock. Like this, there's no payoff. You know, you just kept on losing your money. And she's like, why do you keep on putting money into a losing stock? And I was like, okay. And she's like, I mean, you're not getting anything. This is a toxic relationship, you know? And I think about that, and I think about what a wise statement that was. It was so true, you know? It was absolutely so true. And I think about that a lot, like, not just with friendships or people, but what am I putting, like, if time is money, what am I putting in, what stock do I have in my life? Like, what's important and what's not important, you know? Because when I really look at my life and I look at the things that are the most important, you know, it's like driving around with Tanya and having conversations with her, or spending time with my family, or, you know, Alex and I laughing together, or spending time together, or watching the dogs. Like tonight, oh my God, Boo and Tucker running around the snow, and I just, you know, stayed out there for a couple extra minutes, even though it was cold. They were having so much fun, you know, and they were so darn cute. And I would say, Boo Radley, and then he would come back up, and then he would like running around the yard a little bit. It just was so sweet, you know. And it's like moments like that, or just, I'm like into this Courtney Summers book, and it's so fantastic, the project, and it's like, that is where I'm truly happy. And I've gotten to a point where I want to spend time doing things in my life with the time that I have that I really, really enjoy, spending that time with people that I really, really enjoy. Because quite frankly, I have spent too much time in my last 48 years, well, let's really say the last, since I was like, let's say, you know, in high school, so 15 to now, you know, what is that? 33 years. I spent so much time in the last 33 years giving my time and my energy to people that I look back on and I ask why. I ask myself, why did I do that? I'm not talking about people that were just fun, but the relationship wasn't deep. I mean, I think that's something to be said for, you know? I have a lot of friends in my life today that, like, I think in each other's lives serve the purpose of just being fun for each other. And that's okay. Like, I think that's totally fine. Not every relationship you're going to have with somebody is going to be super deep. You know what I mean? But I look at, like, relationships in my past, and I just was like, I don't think I wanted to be there any more than they wanted to be. Not romantic relationships, but just time spent with people and friendships and whatever. You know, it's just like, I spent so much time hung up on being angry about people that I actually could have worked through that and said, well, why am I angry? And why are my feelings hurt? And what would I like as a result of this? And can I ask that person for this? And maybe they can give it to me, you know? And a lot of people have. And I've given them back a lot of what they needed, you know? And making amends and taking a look at my part in all of that. And wow, isn't that so much easier than just holding a resentment in your head for 20 years and being angry about how somebody treats you, you know? Get over it. It's not worth it. You're wasting your life. I used to see really angry people, and this is very telling, I think, for how I saw the world back in the day. I would see people that were very angry, but they had a sense of kind of like truth-telling to them, and there was something about that was enticing to me, or it seemed powerful to me, or whatever. And I don't today. Like, I look at that today as people that are really angry and snap back and reactionary, or they want to tell on somebody. I look at that and I think, wow, that is so sad. Like, this is sad, because not that we don't all get caught up in it from time to time. I mean, you know, like, I would say I'm pretty good about it today, but do I still fall into that? Sure. And those are moments where I pick up the phone and I call my sponsor. And then we look through, we inventory, well, what led me to feel that way? What led me to go back to that again, you know? So that's a tool that I have today, you know what I mean? But I don't look at those people anymore as being powerful or whatever. I look at them as sad because they're ruled by their anger, and they're ruled for their need of being right and telling on somebody and proving a point. And I think it's sad to me. It's like, this is your life consumption, you know? Like, I know so many people, I feel like, well, I don't so much anymore, but I would say in my past, you know, I feel like in early sobriety, when I was in early sobriety, like I knew a lot of really angry people. And I have to honestly say, I was angry, but I just shut my mouth about it. I just didn't really say a whole lot back then. But, you know, like I feel like, and I think it's okay to be angry. I think, you know, I think to get to the other side, sometimes we have to work through anger. I think anger is an appropriate and fine emotion as long as you don't act on it. But I think that for many of us, we have to feel anger, but really anger is a secondary emotion that's covering up pain and hurt, that we're really hurt about what somebody did to us or how a situation turned out, which is a resentment, which is an unfulfilled expectation. But I have to tell you, the majority of the people that I have known that have gone back out, it's because they're angry at something. Which, if that's really the case, and it really is a secondary emotion, then they're angry because they're hurt about something. Well, wouldn't you rather work through that hurt and pain and anger and not harm yourself further and hurt yourself and be sad and angry and upset? Wouldn't you rather work through that further than you be the, you know, it's like, what did my old sponsor used to say? It's like hitting yourself in the head with a board expecting the other person to feel the pain. I mean, it's like, why are you doing that? I don't want to do that anymore, you know? Time's an interesting thing, isn't it? It's this construct that we've put up around the world, you know, but like, I mean, time is a thing. The sun sets and the sun rises, but be very careful what you're giving your time and your energy to, because it's an honor when you allow somebody into your life and you allow them to rent space in your head for free because they don't know that, you know, they don't even know that you're upset about it, you know? Or it's an honor when you're friends with somebody even, you know, or just whatever, I think. And it can be on the smallest level, like somebody that you see on a daily basis, like your barista at Starbucks, all the way to your mom or your best friend or your husband or wife or whatever. It's like, or your kids, like, it's an honor to even be in their life. And I think that if we looked at the world that way, and this is the part that I'm still working on, I think if we looked at the world that way, we might treat each other a little bit nicer. You know what I mean? I don't know. If I had everything figured out, my life would be perfect. It's not, so I obviously don't have everything figured out, but I also don't think that there is any such thing as a perfect life, because if you had a perfect life, you would have nothing more to learn or to grow from, and that would be boring, right? Like, I do believe in life, we're presented lessons, and I think that once you master one lesson, you go to the next grade to learn another lesson about something to do with life, you know? I don't necessarily think 5 years ago or 10 years ago, had I been, like, you know, presented this lesson about giving people time of mine, I don't think I had the peace and the serenity in my life, and I don't think that I protected the peace and the serenity in my life on a level that I could have realized that, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes some lessons have to come before others, you know? Hell, 5 or 10 years ago, I didn't even really realize how important peace and serenity was to me, because I wasn't doing the work on a daily basis to receive it. If you're not doing the work, you're not going to receive it. It doesn't just come to you, you know? So I think there was that I had to do, but then I had to realize, I mean, I always did prayer and meditation, but I don't think I had the serenity and the peace on the level that, because I was coming out of this 4-year, hiatus and this 4 years of leaving, working a program and the rooms of the 12-step meetings. And when I came back, I just started like I was all over a newcomer. And then it was like, or it felt like that at times. And then I started really focusing on the peace and serenity in my life to the point where I could really cherish that. I've used that word cherish a lot. Actually, it was something that Tanya's son texted me about her, and then it's like, now that word's stuck in my head. But it's true, it became something that I like held on to with your life, was peace and serenity are not a luxury to me today. Like, I feel like I have to have it, and that calmness in my life. And so I'm very careful about what comes in the way of that, as should we all, as should we all. And as you get older, it's not just a thing about, emotional health either. It's about your physical health. I mean, it's been proven that people that are like highly stressed out, and just all this kind of stuff like that affects their physicality as well. And that people are calmer. It's like, that's why like some of these like these Buddhist monks that, practice meditation for 4 hours a day, they live to be 105 because they, have such peace and serenity in their heart, and they don't allow anger and resentment to even come in there. Well, that's a pretty huge lesson to hear, like there must be some value to that. I'm sure it also has to do with the fact that they eat pretty healthy, and I don't. And I'm drinking a fountain pop as I'm sitting here lecturing, but I just share these things because I want people to learn as much as I have, and it wasn't something that, like, I don't think I would have even gotten it if it had been, I mean, I would have understood the concept of it, but I don't even know that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have really looked at it and understood it, I think I had to realize that I think I had to lose some people in my life, in whatever way, whether just not there anymore or they passed away, like my aunt and my uncle. I had to lose some people to really realize the value of time, and which is sad that had to happen first. And then I think that my own aging and getting older made me realize, wow, I'm not going to be here forever, and what do I want to do? How do I want to spend it? Who do I want to spend it with? What energy do I want to give to this areas of my life? Which is why I'm so grateful today for people that allow me into their life. It's really a miracle, it is a miracle. So anyway, I've gone on long enough, and I'm going to get off here now so I can listen to my audiobook, The Project. I hope to God I was charging my phone the whole time, because I hate having to play my audiobook through the charger. And the only reason why is because when I stop it and rewind it or whatever, like I have to like do this whole thing, because it won't just play through like my charger. I have my charger, and then I also have an auxiliary cord. Now on my auxiliary cord, I can play it straight through there. Whew, that car's going fast on the snow. But with my charger, like, it goes over to the USB thing. I know I'm so stupid, I don't know, but anyway. So if I rewind it sometimes, or if I speed it up or slow it down, because sometimes I slow it down because I want to hear something, then it goes to the auxiliary thing, and then I have to rewind it, and I have to push play again. I know, it's silly. I don't hate it, but it just causes me a lot of drama, mana. I keep on seeing drama llamas everywhere. I don't know why. I saw a bag in the grocery store, and it said no. What did it say? No prob llama. It was a llama, and it said no prob llama. I keep on seeing these llamas everywhere, and I love these llamas. They remind me of my mom, because she and I used to go to the zoo, and we would see the llamas, and you know how they go, like, that's llamas that do that, right? Tanya was talking tonight about a friend of hers that raised, I can't remember, yaks or whatever is out there called. I thought when she said it, I was like, that doesn't sound right to me, but I think it might be. I said yaks, like the Creole place. She goes, no, yaks. We're like two old people, I swear. Anyway, all right, you guys, I'm getting off here now. I love you so much. Thank you for listening to me tonight. And If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And like I just said, I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Oh, I didn't do it right. Anyway, what is tomorrow? Thursday? Happy Thursday, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Wait, bye. Love you. Did I do it right? Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya. There, I did it right. I love you. Now I have to do it. One more I love you. All right, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.